Also, MCU, can we get away from the freaking fourth wall breaks about these stupid comic book tropes? I don't care. It irritates the hell out of me. We had it in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, we're
like superhero.
We're wearing hats and glasses. We're going to a baseball game. Now in this one, it's like she's making fun of her pose she keeps doing. It's like
the movie's still doing it. You're making fun of yourself. You're still doing it.
Welcome to Idiot Plot, a comedic podcast critiquing, discussing, and analyzing the media industry through reviews, debates, and historical deep dives.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Idiot Plot. I'm David Yanis, joined as always by my co-host Alex Overall and Justin Nitro.
They did my boy Taskmaster dirty.
Yep. If you didn't get it from that clue, on today's episode, we're going to talk more shit about Disney and the MCU. I know how much people love that, so we're going to do that. We're going to talk about Black Widow. It's the first Disney Marvel movie has it been over 2 years? It's been around 2 years.
I think it's only been a year because I think at the end of 2020, at the end of 2019 was the last one, I think.
I thought it was summer 2019. I thought it was Far From Home.
I could be wrong.
Anyway, it's been a long time. It's finally out a year late. We all saw it and we're going to talk about it and probably piss people off again. But before that, the Emmys released their nominations for this year. So we're going to talk about those. I kind of forgot about the Emmys because honestly, TV this past year was kind of garbage and really much there. But nominees are out. We're going to see what they have.
Yeah, it definitely feels the thing that jumps out to me. I mean, there are good shows nominated, don't get me wrong. But the thing that definitely jumps out at me immediately is, wow, almost nothing came out. Which, like, we said about movies, but there was a lot of indies coming out. But because obviously TV has a quicker turnaround, really just show after show that was supposed to come out last year did not, like Succession, The Witcher, more and more, like, or shows that would have like 4 episodes and then go on hiatus again because of COVID. Like, it was very jumbled, and so there's not many full shows that came out.
Well, and you also didn't have to go to the theater to watch television shows.
Well, you mentioned, Alex, Succession, but like there's some other big Emmy shows like Barry that got like shows that typically would win Emmys that just weren't able to produce seasons. Which means next Emmys
that one got pushed.
The next Emmys will be freaking stacked, is what that means. That's going to be actual competition. But it also means that there's some room for some weird shit to break through and maybe win some awards. Case in point, the drama series nominees. First one, we have The Boys, Bridgerton, The Crown, The Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft Country, which is kind of funny that just got canceled, The Mandalorian, Pose, and This Is Us. I never thought I'd see The Boys nominated for the Emmy for drama series.
Yeah, honestly, if anything, I would have expected comedy, just because people try and classify it that way. But that is a surprise. I think probably a lot of people are happy about, but definitely a surprise.
I don't know. I wouldn't really call it a drama, but.
Yeah, it's hard. It's structured like a drama, which is probably why it's drama. It's funny, but it's got the drama structure and pacing. It's a 1 hour show. We talked about, I think, The Boys Season 2 way back a few months ago.
Yeah, it was
after I saw it. Mm-hmm. Boys Season 2, if Boys Season 1 was nominated for an Emmy for Drama Series, I'd be a little peeved. Boys Season 2, I can kind of respect. But I also haven't seen like any of these shows. I want to see Lovecraft Country, but it's on my wife and I's list, which means it'll take us forever to get to it.
You've kind of got the auto noms, which is kind of something not that they don't necessarily deserve it, particularly in such a sparse year, but like, when the Emmys, something has a strong first season and it just gets nominated every year. So that was stuff like House of Cards. When that declined, it was still getting nominated. But like, This Is Us, that's always going to be there. The Crown, which I'm sure I haven't watched it, but like, it's always highly acclaimed. That's there. And then I think Mandalorian is becoming one of their shows. I'm not saying season 2 and this like such a sparse year again didn't deserve it, but like I feel like it didn't end the strongest, and it's a bit of like a strange one. But season 1 got a bunch of nominations, and then season 2 right away gets a bunch too. So it's becoming one that gets regularly nominated.
I think if other shows like Succession came out this past year, Mandalorian would not be on this list.
Yeah, that probably would have been the first cut. That
or The Boys.
The Boys, yeah.
Mandalorian and The Boys would probably be the first cut. Even though I love parts of season 2, I agree with you. I don't think season 2 ended strongly. But
yeah, it had like the 2 best episodes of the whole show, and then as a season, it was kind of shaky.
But it's not going to win because it's going to be Handmaid's Tale, The Crown, or probably This Is Us. It's probably between those 3. Maybe Bridgerton.
I mean, I don't know if This Is Us will win because now I can pull out my favorite fun fact. What was the last network show to win Best Drama?
I'm going to say The West Wing.
Justin?
I don't.
What year? Say the year.
I don't fucking know when West Wing came out.
I don't watch enough TV to know.
All right. It was 24, bitches. 2005, baby.
Well, as I was going to say,
but that
I was like,
the last one to win.
Like I was going to say, I was like, I haven't watched a lot of television shows, but I probably could have guessed this list of nominations just by what people tell me.
Yeah, I mean, the Emmys, people talk about the Oscars being kind of plebby, easy to predict. The Emmys are way easier to predict.
They're much chalkier because, they can attach themselves to a show and then, like, it always gets nominated.
To keep this moving, talk about the other nominees. We have comedy series. We have Blackish, Cobra Kai, Emily in Paris, Hacks, The Flight Attendant, The Kaminsky Method, Pen 15, and Ted Lasso. Cobra Kai, I think, is shocking to me. It's on there, but it also kind of stands that's how good that show is. It's a massive hit. I don't think anybody thought Cobra Kai was going to be as big as it actually has been, but it's huge.
Especially when it started as a YouTube Red show.
Yeah, because it was acclaimed, but nobody saw it because it was on YouTube and they had nothing else. But then the second it switched to Netflix, that show blew up. And
it's huge.
Then it had a strong last season, and then obviously the strong up-and-comer is Ted Lasso was also like an insta hit. Like I've just started it. I love it. Everybody loves it.
Ted Lasso is probably the front runner.
I mean, it set the record for most first-year nominations. It is 20.
Yeah, it's probably the front runner. Kaminsky Method is on there. Hacks it's Hacks and Flight Attendant. It's interesting to see HBO Max get some attention, but I do think that Ted Lasso and probably like stuff like Blackish are probably because Blackish has their election episode that is getting tons of praise.
I think Cobra Kai could be a kind of dark horse too.
I don't think Cobra Kai will beat Ted Lasso.
I'll agree with that.
Limited series, we have I May Destroy You, Mayor of Easttown, The Queen's Gambit, The Underground Railroad, and WandaVision. Sorry, WandaVision Disney fans. It's gonna be Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, this is so Queen's Gambit. No, there's no way. I would be stunned if anything else won. That was like the show.
People want WandaVision to win, but I don't think it stands a single chance of winning.
The people who have only seen WandaVision?
It wasn't even the best Marvel show that came out.
No, I liked Falcon Winter Soldier more. I know that it's like an unpopular opinion, but I liked it more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we talked about Falcon Winter Soldier on this show really at all because I kind of sick of Marvel shit, but...
Here we are.
But it's better than WandaVision.
Yeah. It was generic. That's why we didn't really talk about it. I mean, the only reason we talked about WandaVision was to tell them that they're not as clever as they think they are.
WandaVision, actually, I had a pretty extreme reaction to at the end. Like, just like an emotional reaction to. I had like no emotional reaction to Falcon Winter Soldier. I kind of honestly forgot if I ever watched it. Which is maybe why WandaVision got nominated and Falcon Winter Soldier didn't. Because Falcon Winter Soldier just feels like an extra long Marvel movie. Whereas WandaVision feels like something original until it becomes an extra long Marvel movie at the very end. To keep things going, we have lead actor in drama series, Sterling K. Brown for This Is Us, Jonathan Majors for Lovecraft Country, Josh O'Connor for The Crown, Roger Jean Page, I butchered that, for Bridgerton, Billy Porter for Pose, and Matthew Reese for Perry Mason. Yeah. I wish Perry Mason got some more love. I actually really enjoyed it. It's not amazing or anything, but it's pretty fun. I feel like Billy Porter is probably the front runner, though. Emmys love him.
Yeah, I think honestly that's a pretty like tight category where there's not one that really jumps out at me. But I would agree. I would say that's the front runner.
Lead actress in a drama series, Uzo Aduba in Treatment, Olivia Colman, The Crown, Emma Corrin, The Crown, Elizabeth Moss, The Handmaid's Tale, MJ Rodriguez for Pose, and Journey Smollett.
Juicy
Smollett.
Journey Smollett. I love Crap Country.
That's honestly that's all I ever hear when I hear that last name.
That was such a powerful joke that literally we can't even say the name anymore.
Anyway, it's probably between Olivia Colman and Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah,
because Olivia Colman is the front runner in everything she ever does.
Because she's amazing, and then Elizabeth Moss because she's the one they love.
Yeah, the Emmys are the ones that they've attached themselves to her, not to Sean Elizabeth Moss. But it's true. They did it with Night Court. Like John Larroquette had to withdraw from the Emmys because he won 6 years in a row for best lead actor in a comedy for Night Court. Like it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Lead actor in a comedy series: Anthony Anderson for Blackish, Michael Douglas for The Kominsky Method, William H. Macy for Shameless, Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso, Kenan Thompson for Kenan. This is either gonna go. I think the three that have the shot are Jason Sudeikis, William H. Macy, and Anthony Anderson, but I think it will go to Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I think like 100% it's going to Jason Sudeikis. I'd be pretty shocked if it wasn't him. He's got like, besides like the buzz the show has, it might be the front runner, but like he's an even bigger front runner, I think.
Lead actress in a comedy series, we have Adie Bryant for Shrill, Kaylee Cuoco for The Flight Attendant, Allison Janney for Mom, Tracy Ellis Ross for Blackish, and Jean Smart for Hacks. I really have no idea on this one, to be honest with you. Probably, I'll say Tracy Ellis Ross. We saw Mom tape live in college, and so I never wanted to win anything after that.
Yeah, I know. She's always.
I was gonna say Allison Janney just because it's her.
Just because Allison. I mean, it's not a bad strategy.
I mean, Jean Smart should always win.
She just won the Oscar 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
But she was really good at that movie though. Like, that was a good movie.
She's a good actress. Jean Smart's always a good actress. So I'll get. Maybe her, but I haven't seen that much about the show season, so
I don't want to talk about this too much because there's tons of awards and we kind of gotta get moving a little bit. But I hope
we gotta talk about the one.
We'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. I think so. I guess some quick things. I don't know why Hamilton is on here for TV movie, but whatever.
That didn't make any sense to me either.
That's bizarre. People are going to want Elizabeth Olsen to win for WandaVision for the actress in the series, but it's probably going to go to Anna Taylor-Joy for Queen's Gambit.
And yeah, it should.
Or Kate Winslet for Mayor of Easttown. Those two are probably both ahead of her. Conan better win Variety Talk series.
Oh my God! They will catch these fucking hands.
I find it funny they call it a Variety Talk series, but they're not very variety.
Well, Variety just means like not scripted, basically. It's like a talk show. But Conan needs to win because Conan, he's done, but his last season was amazing.
Yeah, he's always the best, but like particularly this last year and like the stuff he did in the months leading up to the end was all so great. Like, there's some really good stuff in there. Bill Burr just shitting on everyone. You know, it was quality content.
Bill Burr being Bill Burr.
He wheeled out, what's the producer's name? Jordan Schlansky. You know, they wheeled everybody out again, so it was a lot of fun.
Some other big highlights: Mandalorian getting some acting noms for Giancarlo Esposito and Carl Weathers.
I don't know why.
Understand why Weathers is nominated.
I love Giancarlo, but like, man,
Carl Weathers should be nominated for director. That's what he should be nominated.
That is 100%.
Yeah, he had one of the best episodes.
He's a really good director, actually, in the stuff he's done for the show.
Kathryn Hahn for WandaVision, which people are going to want to win.
She might.
And honestly might. She honestly might. I really hope not, but she honestly might.
She was.
But the one everyone's talking. Yeah, and so it's like the elephant. What the hell? for Mandalorian too. Why is he nominated for Mandalorian?
For just doing Justified again. However, I will root for that just because he's awesome.
Anyway, the one everyone's talking about is Don Cheadle being nominated for Guest Actor for The Falcon and Winter Soldier for a period in that show for all of 3 minutes.
I believe it was almost exactly 100 seconds.
And he got a guest. I mean, it is a guest. He was a guest.
Did he just qualify?
I love how the guest category works because you can be in like half the season. John Lithgow was guest actor for that season of Dexter, and he was in like 4 or 5 episodes. Then there are people like I think either Gene Smart or whoever played the ex-president in 24 one for like a whole episode. Then there are people who are in one lengthy scene, and then there's this.
I mean, I guess it's not as messed up as the guest actor in a comedy series, which is all SNL hosts and then Morgan Freeman, the Kaminsky method. I feel like that's kind of cheating.
Yeah.
Because Saturday Night Live is under variety sketch series. So why is it comedy then? So why is the acting part comedy?
And they have a guest every freaking week.
Yeah, like Alec Baldwin was up for literally like 5 years in a row for guest actor.
And Hamilton's on Variety Special when it got awards for TV movie. And we all know that the Variety Special pre-recorded is going to Bo Burnham Inside.
Oh yeah.
It should be David Byrne's Utopia or 846 Dave Chappelle. Yeah. But it's going to go to Bo Burnham Inside, I think. I just want to talk about 2 more things quick, and then we can move on. Animated program is Big Mouth, Bob's Burgers, Jenny Tartakovsky's Primal, The Simpsons, and South Park: The Pandemic Special. South Park Pandemic Special will win, but Primal should win, in my opinion. Primal is amazing. Primal's a masterpiece.
The Pandemic Special was pretty great, though.
But Pandemic Special will win. As long as it's not the vaccination special.
That one was bad.
It was fine, but Pandemic Special is like one of the best things they've done in years.
In short-form animated program, one of the nominees is the Disney Plus short Maggie Simpson in The Force Awakens from its nap. I want to comment on these Simpsons Disney shorts and just how terrible corporate BS they are. They're just ads. Like they just recently released one where the Simpsons interact with Loki, and it's just an ad.
The future of entertainment.
Tune
in next week.
The Simpsons made fun of them joining the Disney family when Disney Plus became a thing, and now they're just doing what they make fun of.
Yeah, and I knew that was gonna happen. Like, of course, and Simpsons has always been that way, where they'll make fun of that kind of stuff, but like by being under the Disney roof, they will be forced to do that kind of stuff.
Because money.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, those are the big nominations, the ones that are actually important. We could go on for a whole episode about nominations, but we're not going to do that because we have bigger fish to fry. But if you want to watch the Emmys, they take place September 19th on CBS and Paramount Plus. For some reason, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. They're live. Watch them or don't. I'm pretty sure probably no one's going to watch them. So
yeah, and you'll find out because we'll probably do a news segment on how nobody watched them.
Probably we'll talk about and do another episode of how no one cares about award shows, which is true. But with that, let's move on to Black Widow. So, of course, everyone knows, the Black Widow was to come out last year, got pandemic delayed, and now it's currently in theaters and Disney Plus for $30, which I want to comment on. I do want to comment on that quick. I, at first, was really against that extra $30 thing, and I still am. But when you do the math going to a movie, that $30, like for me and my wife, to pay $30, it's about comparable to how much we spent to see Black Widow because it was 2 of us, and then we got some, and I went right after work, so I was hungry, so we got some popcorn and some drinks. So those came to about $30. But if you have like but it got us out of the house.
That's proof you don't live in LA. I'll tell you that.
But we gotta do more. But say you live in LA. Or say you have a family with a bunch of small children. That $30 is actually not a bad deal. However, I still don't like that it's $30 on top of a service that you already pay $7 for. So it's really $37.
Yeah.
What they should do is $30 on like Amazon and then $25 through Disney Plus. And that way you're still getting a boost because there are people that will pay the extra $2 for a month of Disney Plus with Black Widow.
Yeah, but I think obviously Disney wants to get everybody signed up, and maybe they'll forget, or maybe they'll get hooked on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe your kids will just accidentally watch a movie that you have to pay $30 for. Where does extra $30 come from?
Why is there $37 on my credit card this month?
Was it just say Mulan as the purchase? But anyway, regardless of that, it's out. You can watch the movie right now. But for those that don't know, Black Widow is a prequel, I guess.
Seems to take place like at the climax of Civil War.
It's going to take place right after Civil War, going into Infinity War.
Which is very confusing to do at this point, honestly.
Yeah. You want should I just say it now? So spoiler alert for Endgame if you haven't seen it. In the main storyline of MCU, Black Widow's dead.
Yeah.
She died in that movie.
She yeeted off a cliff, sacrificed herself, which is actually a very good scene. But
it is a really good scene. But her solo movie came out after she's already dead.
Well, that's a lot like a lot of the reviews. A little too late. It's like this should have been during taking place either during Black Panther's spot or Captain Marvel's spot. Captain Marvel would have been the most opportune time considering she dies in the next one, but you couldn't film it then.
Honestly, in my opinion, this movie should have been made in phase 1
or even early phase 2, because
to me like the core of this movie gave me like Iron Man 1 vibes, and that was the frustrating thing to me about this movie, was that there's some really good stuff about this film. I think people think we're just gonna talk about, oh, it's terrible, MCU's awful, Disney's evil, that kind of shit, and we probably will.
We'll definitely get there, but I think we're all kind of in the middle on it a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie, but my biggest issue with it was that there's some really cool dark spy stuff that gets completely neutered by the inane MCU Kevin Feige bullshit.
Yep.
Well,
again, the short version that you told me right after you watched it, which honestly I agree with, is this actually could have been a good movie if it wasn't an MCU movie, and that's kind of true. Even if it exists within this universe, it should have been more stripped down and focus on the stuff early on that's a bit darker, more interesting, more spy-like, and then it just devolves into poorly done. Well, not just into superhero action, but fairly poorly done, overblown kind of sequences that don't really work with the rest of the plot
or the rest of the movie.
Big. Right, the action scenes are giant superhero fight, punch somebody 50 feet into the air, and giant CG explosions and particle effects everywhere, when the rest of it is really contained and it doesn't fit at all.
Okay, so before we get too far, the plot of Black Widow. So Black Widow's on the run after the events of Civil War. She basically is on the run and then gets some random kind of by circumstance clue that her sister, back when she was a spy family in America for the Soviets, she gets some clue. American. And goes to Budapest, and they meet up, and they're basically trying to find the antidote for the Red Room, which is where, if you've seen the other film, that after Black Widow became Black Widow, and they're trying to shut it down because Black Widow thought she shut it down, but Marvel realized that they could make a better movie or another movie if they brought it back. So they brought it back.
Well, that's the other thing, is the whole MacGuffin of getting this cured.
This magic mind gas. Yeah, because the cures is gas that basically cures people.
I thought it was
the Red Room brainwashing.
I thought the thing was going to be designed by Rachel Weisz by the end, but then it was she'll have to come up with how to duplicate it. I'm then who the frick created this?
That's a good question.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Holy shit, that's really bad, actually. I thought she had created it too. I just assumed.
No, because at the end she's. Natasha says have her try to duplicate it. It's well, then I'm I thought it was going to be her. It would have been
just
perfect.
The kid can't be dead. The kid can't be dead because you can't have a hero who killed a kid in the MCU. So
yeah, well, hold up. I want to touch on that in greater detail. But before that, like I mentioned, Rachel Weisz is in this. So is Florence Pugh as, I guess, discount Black Widow. Other Black Widow.
She's
and
great.
They also have David Harbour as Red Guardian, who's basically Soviet Captain America. And honestly, his back really hurts from carrying this movie.
Well, I even loved it. I'll mention it later because it'll.
Well, the big thing.
Florence Pugh is good, but her character is not that great.
No, but she was having a fun time.
Yeah,
she was. They were all having a fun time. You could tell that they enjoyed making this movie. I wish the film was better. See, to me, their performances reeked of actors trying to improv who don't know how to improv.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's either that or like honestly, I feel like other movies have done it more, like Far From Home, but like that's how they keep trying to write funny dialogue. So I actually think most of that was probably written.
Interesting.
It was just poorly written, casual conversation type stuff. Because again, there are other ones like Far From Home that try way harder to be funny and are just filled with the same thing. So like that's how they want to have this banter, but it feels so like artificial because they can't say anything interesting.
Yeah, also
too calculated. Like, what can they joke about that no one is going to find bad and that is going to be very shiny? This vest, okay.
Also, MCU, can we get away from the freaking fourth wall breaks about these stupid comic book tropes? I don't care. It irritates the hell out of me. We had it in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, we're
like superhero.
We're wearing hats and glasses. We're going to a baseball game. Now in this one, it's like she's making fun of her pose she keeps doing. It's like
the movie's still doing it. You're making fun of yourself. You're still doing it.
I mean, we just gotta
just
stop
because you
with
say
that.
like a sarcastic comment doesn't mean that you're not still doing the thing.
And you don't need to keep bringing attention to it.
To go off what Alex said a little bit ago. So what's the one big Black Widow past storyline that has been mentioned in almost every MCU movie that Black Widow appears in?
Budapest.
Well, she actually says it 10 times in a row in this movie because he's saying it wrong.
And what they're referring to.
Budapest.
Yep. If you see any Avengers movie, you know that Hawkeye and Black Widow
take a shot.
went on a mission in Budapest or Pest, wherever the hell.
That trust us was super sick.
Yeah. They keep talking about how crazy and awesome it was, and I guess they kind of show it in this movie, but it's not crazy, it's not awesome, and it's definitely kind of lame.
Basically, they blew up a building and then snuck around trying to get out of town.
And Hawkeye's not there because Jeremy Renner was too busy. So
he's filming his Hawkeye Disney Plus show.
Well, really, that's what the prologue of this movie should have been. I don't mind the prologue that they chose to do, even though it's Discount Americans, and with them being a fake family, and then you have that montage credit scene that is actually really good, except for the song choice that is really just over the top.
I was also the song was playing. I'm like, is this Smells Like Teen Spirit? I'm like, what the hell are we doing, people?
But I mean, besides the subject was like them and the cages and stuff, and like the training stuff, which was really interesting. But like the visual style, like. Anybody who thinks that's original, I'll just look up the Americans intro on YouTube.
It's cool what they're going for.
That's what they were doing.
See, my wife was super pissed because she actually likes that cover of that song. Probably it's an older cover, and she's pissed because not everyone's going to call it that Black Widow song.
Kurt Cobain is rolling over. Like, he already hated that song. And now a cover of it is used in an MCU movie, which means that everyone's going to think Smells Like Teen Spirit is the Black Widow movie. Anybody that's like a Gen Z kid or something.
I didn't mind the opening. I think it went on a little too long.
Much like every scene in this movie, I thought. I thought every scene went on way too long.
Yeah, this movie should not be as long as it is.
Anyway, to get to my point, instead of that prologue, it should have been Hawkeye and Black Widow in Budapest.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do Bond,
I would have been to hype that.
Like have a prologue be an unrelated action sequence.
Then we have the credits of showing other backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you can start at post credits with the part of them as a family and go back. Mm-hmm. Which is a lot of jumping around in time, but listen, this universe has like 8,000 different threads. People can handle you jumping around in time a little bit.
Well, see the other prologue idea that I wish they did was also maybe do the post-credit scene, which is actually in current timeline. For people who haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, it's Florence Pugh's character at Scarlett Johansson's character's grave, and then Julia Louis-Dreyfus shows up, does a bunch of bad jokes, and then basically sets up the Hawkeye show.
She is literally like, I've seen her in this and now in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I do not know what the fuck they're doing with her character.
Oh, it's obvious.
Yeah, honestly, she looks like she's normal. I mean, she normally has so much more energy and is more funny. She looks like she does not want to be there. She does not want to be there. She's like, just pay me.
Her character is Madam Hydra, and she's probably setting up the Dark Avengers or Hydra form of the Avengers. That's what she's doing.
that's the Marvel's final form of "I'm you but evil" is literally just a whole Avengers but evil.
But as I was kind of pointing towards, I think they'll be evil just because I think they're actually setting up something to be a little bit deeper than that. I think that scene, maybe not the really Dreyfuss bit, but pull a Citizen Kane, have Florence Pugh at Scarlett Johansson's grave, and then flashback.
Yeah.
Ryan.
They didn't acknowledge at the beginning that she's dead.
Well, that's what pissed me and my wife off, because we're talking about like, yeah, we don't like these movies, but I actually do own a up-to-date MCU Blu-ray collection, just because that's what we want to have. We want to have a pretty epic Blu-ray physical media library. And we talked about, like, hey, if we have kids one day, the MCU could actually be a ton of fun, because they'll love it, and them being entertained by it will, count for something when I eventually stop giving a shit past a certain point. But like, because that damn post-credit scene, you can't do Black Widow where it should be in the timeline.
Well, I mean, you could just skip that one, the post-credit screen.
Well, honestly, you could fucking skip Black Widow basically in general.
True.
Because it serves no purpose because they did it too late. If they actually put Black Widow into the actual timeline, like imagine if instead of this Red Room random Ray Winstone bullshit fake Russian villain, they tied the new Red Room into Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
That would have been very interesting.
And they tied it into the whole espionage. Hydra's infiltrated several top areas and stuff.
You could have put Hydra in front.
Idea for them.
You could have put Hydra in charge of the Red Room.
Yeah, like do something, because this serves no purpose in the greater MCU except for the post-credit scene, which really you don't need to see. And basically, I think it was made for the specific purpose. It's like they expected nobody to watch Black Widow.
Yeah, honestly, that credit scene was so stupid that it lowered my opinion of the fact that I had to wait through the credits to see it.
And also, I should say this because we didn't mention that everyone seems to be having a fun time. I want to kind of alter that a little bit and say everyone seems to be having a fun time except for Scarlett Johansson.
That's kind of true.
She looks so over these movies.
Well, it's kind of hard to... I bet it's kind of hard to get back into this character after you had your swan song of dying in the last one. Oh, come back for the cash grab of we're finally going to tell the Budapest story. And
well, she made so much money off of this movie that she's probably fine.
She's like, it's just one more, and then I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm sure she's done. I'm sure she's out.
Yeah, she's got she's made so much money off of these. She's got so many awards ones to do. Like she really doesn't need it.
Yeah, she can do the awards ones now, which that's where she's really
exclusively. She'll never need money again.
yeah, because she'll and maybe to keep Disney happy, she'll film a little cameo every now and again.
So the mouse doesn't show up at her house with a baseball bat.
Yeah, and then she'll be fine. But I think she's happy to be done. But also, this is something that I think a lot of people don't understand, especially with these MCU movies, just how exhausting they are. Because you go and you film for how many months, and it's a super intensive filming where you have to diet and exercise to an insane degree to keep in shape. You have to go on these intense filming runs for months at a time, and then when that's done, you have to go on this big marketing push. And maybe by the time you have between filming and the marketing for the movie, you might have time to film a smaller movie in between.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you're already on the marketing push for the big movie, which is months of you traveling around the world talking to a bunch of different people for months at a time. And by the time that's done, you have to go film the next Marvel one, and the cycle repeats.
And strap up in the super heavy suit with dots in this giant green room for super intense, highly choreographed sequences of you fighting nothing.
That will then later be cut to hell
and
in
just
the
be
editing
drenched
room.
in sweat, swinging at the air, and that's your day for like 12 hours.
Well, like to me, it's no shock that like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, all the main ones that they want out, because it's exhausting and it takes over your life, and you basically can't do anything else.
I think the only one that doesn't really want out or has said anything about it is Hemsworth.
But that's because they finally figured out how to actually make a Thor movie.
True.
So
now he gets to work with like Taika and stuff like that. That would just be fun.
Yeah. My guess is he'll be done soon.
He probably has 2-3 more movies, probably, if that.
Because I think he just signed like a 1-film extension on his contract. I don't think he's had another major one. Probably because Marvel doesn't want to pay him.
Yeah, because he's essentially like the lead dog now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, did anyone else think this was really badly edited at times?
Yeah,
like,
but I can't think that of all the Marvel movies, to be honest with you.
Well, this one was really egregious because, like, when we first see Florence Pugh's character, she's chasing down that one rogue widow or whatever, and all of a sudden it's like she gets hit by a door, and the next thing you know, she's getting hit by a car. I'm like, did I miss a scene? Did I blink and miss it?
There were a lot of points where I had like whiplash from like where am I spatially, like what exactly just happened.
Honestly, I'm used to action movies being edited like Bohemian Rhapsody at this point. I'm just used to it because it's like they don't know how to choreograph fight scenes correctly, so they just edit shit so that way you won't notice that the fight moves are actually terrible.
I don't know, this one just seemed to kind of stick out more than usual.
Yeah, I would agree, especially like there are some fights that like seem like there's hand-to-hand going on, and then there are some fights that's like I feel like there's no impact to this. Like one I remember too, like that was really weird and kind of abrasive and just kind of starts and is jumping all over the place, is when Black Widow fights her sister for like no reason, and it just like starts and it's like, oh, her face is in the sink now. Oh wait, where are we? We're over here. Okay, what's happening? Why is this happening? And they're just
smashing shit. Like they're going out of their way to just be brutal.
Right, like they're
for no reason,
and like they're superhuman too. Like they're just supposed to be like kind of super soldiers, but like not physically. Like they're just supposed to be really good, and like they're kind of like throwing each other through walls and stuff like this whole movie. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little confused. I realized Black Widow was like Thor, you know, just like smashing through buildings. I'm like, oh, the one that got me was when Taskmaster randomly ambushes her again. Another very abrasive scene, and the car literally explodes. Like it gets shot with a fucking RPG, and she's fine. And then she gets yeeted off the bridge into the water, which apparently Taskmaster has that much strength. It just yeets her like 20 feet in the air into the water, and she's fine.
Are we going to talk about the elephant in the room now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so Alex just mentioned Taskmaster, who is the main villain of this movie until they're not. And Taskmaster's a in my opinion, pretty underrated Marvel villain. In the comics, he's a guy who's like a super assassin, but his big thing is he can copy people's moves.
Yeah, he has like an eidetic memory.
Yeah. Very interesting. That isn't used at all, but
yeah, it's not used. You use at all. But in the comics, it makes him an interesting character because, like, he can fight characters like Black Widow, Deadpool, like all these characters that are more hand-to-hand comic fighters. He's a pretty good nemesis. There's some interesting stories. Here, he's a robot man.
Not even a man.
Programmed.
Until he's not a robot man.
Yeah, so spoiler time. Skip a few seconds. So we're talking about Budapest, right? Now Alex mentioned that they wouldn't kill a kid because that's the Budapest mission. Is that Black Widow is going to kill the leader of the Red Room, so she's fully out of the Red Room. No one come after her. It's done. And it's a big thing for her because in this attack, in order to make sure that this guy dies, she ends up killing his child daughter. Or so we thought. Wink, wink, because Marvel would never actually go that far. Actually do something that actually works. It turns out, that Olga Kurylenko plays this girl as an adult who just happens to be Taskmaster and is a super strength robot woman, and it's not really explained how or why or anything really.
Is that explained how either of them survive a giant explosion in that room? Her face is kind of burned. He's literally fine.
Yeah, he literally looks like he hasn't been touched.
I don't know if he just wasn't there. I mean, nothing looks wrong with him. She got all burned and then I guess got obsessed with watching people fight, and then that's how the moves copy. But then doesn't end up being the main villain. It's just him again.
I'm so pissed.
Did his daughter jump in front of the bomb all of a sudden and took all of it?
It's so aggravating. It's so aggravating, but it's also because Taskmaster's a good villain, right? And they completely butchered him for no reason. And this is why they did it. And this I'm gonna take a bunch of film fans to task right now. Because the reason why I did it is because people are obsessed with twists. Villains can't be just who they are. There has to be some twist. There has to be some oh no gotcha moment for everything. Benedict Cumberbatch has to be Khan. Blofeld has to be Inspector. All this shit. Just kill a good fucking villain. Enough of the twist identities.
That is very true.
We don't need that.
It's not even a believable twist.
And it's
because even
so
like when she takes
obvious.
Well, that and when she takes off the helmet, it's kind of like when you see the guy who plays Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal. It's like you don't look like you should be wearing that outfit. You don't look like what it usually looks like.
Olga Kurylenko was never actually in that suit, except for those scenes.
The other funny thing about that twist too is you see her name in the opening credits and she hasn't shown up. It's like, well, I mean, her name was right there. I know who that is. I remember her from Bond and shit. So like, I mean, she's not like big, but she's big enough that like she's not just gonna be in this as like random pedestrian. So I'm like, you're waiting for her to show up anyway.
And it's painfully obvious that the twist to set this up is that the little girl is gonna be Taskmaster, because the whole film was trying to set this whole thing of who is Taskmaster really.
And they kept bringing up that she killed a kid.
Yeah. Like it's super just on the nose writing, and this screenplay is pretty bad. But I will say that the cast tends to give it their all, especially David Harbour. He saves this movie in a lot of scenes.
He's the only funny thing in this movie.
Because the humor, generally speaking, doesn't work, but he brings a certain angle to it of this proud Russian, proud Soviet agent who just feels used by the machine, just wants to relive his glory days as a superhero.
I do appreciate in this case that, unlike some of the other ones, it wasn't trying for jokes every 2 seconds. Like, the ones that were there did not work unless he said them. But, like, I liked, that's one of the reasons I'm more in the middle on this, is because I did like that it actually tried to be a movie and not a stand-up special.
Until it's not really trying to be a movie towards the end. It becomes CGI garbage orgy fest. Like, it's just...
I couldn't even tell. That was outrageous. Like, I couldn't even tell what was happening anymore. I'm like, just everything is blowing up. Everything.
I thought it was fine until all of a sudden the weird sky base that they're on. Because they go to a sky base, which is the Red Room's secret headquarters, because it's always moving, so it's in the sky. It's really stupid. And then it explodes, and all of a sudden they're fighting in the air and flying around. Like, because I was like, oh, this isn't going to be a CGI orgy fest. We're going to get grounded action. I'm actually okay with that. Nope. Now they're flying.
Yeah, there's never a final cool fight with Taskmaster that was like grounded and like interesting, and so Taskmaster didn't really get to do much. But I have 2 points. One you've already heard. One is going to make you angrier about the Taskmaster thing. So first, why can't Taskmaster be the main villain? We've talked about that. Like, there has to be some magic thing that's making her fight, and when the gas makes that go away, she's just totally peaceful with the person who blew half her face off. Like, why can't Taskmaster be the main villain as being the kid? What, like, he's got like the actual villain has like some reason for wanting to control everything. Why can't you just have someone who's very good at fighting and is pissed that she blew up her dad and blew up half her face and just wants to fucking kill her?
You know
that's simple. That's effective.
You know what would have been an awesome twist? Taskmaster wasn't under mind control.
That's what, for half a second, I thought was going to happen, and then I said, wait, this is the MCU.
Yeah.
And I
That's
completely
how it should have
dismissed
been.
it, but I'm like, yeah, like when she gets down there, she does it, and then you get the final fight there among all the crash stuff, because it turns out she's not under influence. She does want to kill her.
And then Taskmaster survives and takes over the Red Room and becomes a major villain going forward.
Yep.
That's how it should have gone. No, I'm pissed. God damn it.
Now, ready? I'm going to add more fuel to the fire.
Go for it.
So we talked about how Taskmaster is underused and could be more effective. I'm going to give you an example of exactly that in a different movie, Annihilation. The alien that copies her moves. So she can't beat it because it's copying everything that she does, and it knows everything she's going to do, and that's what Taskmaster could be.
It's essentially what he is.
I'm out.
Right, but it doesn't even like do that, really.
See you guys next week. I'm out. I'm way too pissed to continue. You're right.
I knew that would piss you off.
You're absolutely right.
Well, and we also
watch Annihilation if you haven't, because it's amazing. But yeah,
watch Annihilation. Don't watch. If you're gonna watch Black Widow, just put on Annihilation instead.
Well, and like what you were saying, it would have been awesome to actually have him, Taskmaster, be the villain, because when he was fighting against like Red Guardian and everything, and he's pulling out Black Panther's move sets and everything, that's what you want to see. You want to see him pull out the arsenal of all the superheroes that he's seen or fought before.
Yeah, and then it just like doesn't even show that fight. It's like, oh, she did the Black Panther claws. Oh, we didn't see any of that fight. Okay, that's all. That's it. Yeah. So it's like it just like flashes these things like, oh, there's the shield. Oh, there's the claws for a second. Oh, they land the same way one time.
It's trailer
when they're
shots.
actually fighting, right? But when they're actually fighting, there's not that give and take. Nothing really happens.
While we're on the topic of things that piss us off, this is really random and unrelated. But you know how at the end of the movie she said that she has to go break some friends out of jail? Didn't Captain America already break them out of jail at the end of Civil War?
Yeah. Well, that's another thing.
I think actually, so if I'm remembering right, I can't remember how much she was in Civil War, so I could be wrong, but I swear this takes place just after Black Panther's introduced and there's the explosion and stuff, and after she exits the movie, but before the end of the movie. So I think this is literally happening during Civil War.
Oh, no.
I think it happens like literally right after the airport fight.
Oh, that's dumb.
Well, that's the other thing that made me question it is at the beginning of the movie, you see Ross walking with a cane and everything, and it's like in Civil War, he was completely fine. Why does all of a sudden he have a double bypass surgery?
Wait, didn't they mention something about that happening in Civil War?
I don't remember it.
They expect us to remember this movie that well. I'm just not there anymore, Marvel. Like, this is the first one of these movies I've seen in like 2 years. It's been a long time, man. They all kind of bleed together. You can't really expect me to remember all that, right?
Well, especially, I think for a lot of people, Endgame was the end. Because Endgame was like a strong finale where if you wanted to get off
I wish I could.
that was a good time too. This just feels unnecessary. I feel like Disney was honestly trying to do Scarlett Johansson a favor because whether it's because of COVID or not, the merchandising for this movie just did not sell. And part of it is probably COVID's fault that you had a bunch of merch that was discontinued before the movie even came out. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember people wanting to buy it even from the beginning because there wasn't a super big merch push even compared to other solo movies.
Well, to be fair, I mean, when people think about the Avengers, your first thought isn't Black Widow.
I will say I did like what they did with her character towards the end. It took them a while. I mean, she's really good in Captain America: Winter Soldier. Well, she's pretty useless in the first two Avengers movies, but she kind of, I think, comes into her own in Civil War and Infinity War and then Endgame.
Well, and you also think about this, it also kind of screws up the Endgame with them saying we're her only family. It's like there's a whole movie about her other family.
Yeah, but that was a mega. So
don't turn your back on family.
Hey, if we all saw F9, we could be making family jokes this whole time.
We could still do that.
I wish I hadn't seen it.
I've seen enough Fast and Furious movies.
You haven't seen F9. F9 is on. It's a complete separate beast.
That's what I hear.
Thing is evil.
For better or worse, and worse and worse.
Now, what some people might not know is that in 2004, this film was in development, which was going to be written and directed by Solid Snake himself and world-renowned non-director David Hayter. I mean, I swear to God, that dude has been attached to more movies that have been canceled than any other person. Like that guy has been attached to so many movies that never got made. He has like no director credit because of it.
He has some writing credit. I've never seen him direct anything, but I know he has some writing thing.
Because he was set to do Black Widow and set to direct Watchmen, and news ever came out. But this, to me, feels like they took his early 2000s Black Widow script and merged it into a MCU film, because it does kind of have some of those early 2000s superhero vibes at times. Certainly in that opening montage. But I wonder how that film would have been better not in the MCU. I wonder what they would have done.
Probably better. I mean, because a more stripped down like actual spy type movie could have been interesting.
We wouldn't have a twist.
Yeah.
I also, I'm on random things I'll remember. I've mentioned this before. Why is she watching the worst Bond movie in this movie? No one has seen Moonraker enough times to quote a random scene from that movie. It's not even one of the more memorable scenes anyway. She's just like quoting a random scene from that movie. The only connection I can think of is, number one, it's the worst Bond movie, so you don't invite comparisons to better movies. And two, there is the space station base in that movie, and this has a sky base that looks similar.
That's probably it.
Otherwise, I have no idea why that movie is in this.
It's probably the cheapest film to license because it's the worst.
Or you do one of the spin-off ones like the random Sean Connery one. But that
Thunderball?
Yeah. When they remade Thunderball with a different company or whatever.
Oh.
It was Never Say Never. Okay. That was it. But yeah, I don't know what. That just bothered me because nobody likes Moonraker, and I don't know why that movie's in this movie.
Just to piss you off.
I'm gonna say something controversial.
Uh-oh.
As if we haven't done that before.
True. Why wasn't this a TV show? Why was this a movie and not a TV show?
Because Scarlett's too busy to do TV.
But honestly, that's very. I don't think she would have done a TV show.
But this plot to me feels more like a TV show than the movie plot.
I think the only reason I'm honestly apathetic to that point, like you could, because honestly, I would say the same thing about like anything that's not the main line ones. Like you could say, why isn't Falcon and Winter Soldier a movie? You know, why isn't this a TV show? Why isn't Loki a movie? I don't know. Like I don't know.
But isn't that a problem with the MCU though?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Isn't that actually, that's a big problem. If you can't determine why things are made the way they are, that's a pretty gaping hole in your plans for world domination.
Well, flip a coin? I don't know. Like,
I mean, WandaVision being a TV show, I understand.
Yeah, that would be impossible as a movie.
But it seems to me like Falcon Winter Soldier and Loki and that shit just exists to solely give Disney Plus content.
Or the Hawkeye one. The only thing I can think about Hawkeye is that he's not big enough for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But
but Black Widow got one.
Yeah. It's just Scarlett Johansson is a bigger star, obviously. Yeah. So there's a movie.
I wonder if she refused to sign a contract unless they gave her a movie.
And honestly, that's probably smart on her part because you get much more as the lead, obviously, financially. And obviously, that's really the reason to do these and then have money so you can do more awards type stuff for much cheaper. But I think that was that may have been in the first contract. You know what I mean? It may have been contracted back when she joined the MCU that I get a solo movie. And they just punted it. Then it's like, all right, I'm literally dead. Can we do that movie now? And it's like, all right, let's do it.
Well, I mean, she's been clamoring. They've been clamoring like, oh, it's going to come. It's coming. It's coming. It's like freaking the Game of Thrones books. Don't worry, it's coming.
What did Jeff Loeb say? Didn't Jeff Loeb, I asked him about that, and didn't he say something about her being pregnant as the reason why it didn't get made?
Ooh, I think I remember something like that they've tried to bury.
I'm going to look it up quick, but I'm pretty sure Jeff Loeb, Jeff Loeb is an amazing comic book writer. Terrible executive. Horrible executive.
But I do vaguely remember him saying something like that and it being like somewhat controversial, and then it just got buried.
Yeah, because there was an exec. There were a group of execs at Marvel back in the early days of the MCU that for some reason didn't really want to do any movies that weren't about white male heroes. That was a very big thing.
Wasn't
where
that
like
joke in South Park too?
What?
Didn't South Park make that joke too? Like Token only gets his in phase 2 or 3.
Yeah. They made that joke, but there was a time where, if you guys remember looking at their timeline, there was no Black Panther, there was no Captain Marvel all in phase 3. Those were added in by Kevin Feige immediately after he was fired. And that's why Inhumans became a TV show, because this dude wanted to do Inhumans solely to piss off Fox. Not because anyone actually wanted to do it.
You just plays yourself.
Well, I can't imagine. I don't see why it would stop him. I mean, she was pregnant during Avengers 2, I believe. Just throw in the stunt doubles.
Film around it. Yeah, you just do doubles and film around it.
And with the way their face de-aging technology is, you can't like digitally put her face on someone else for a couple scenes that are going to be quick.
God, they did bury this. Hold up.
Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, but boy, did they bury it.
Bad
But
publicity.
I bet this is all like, it should have been earlier, but I think this all went into that. And that's probably the reason, number one, why it didn't happen earlier. And also, number two, why it's a movie. It probably has to be. And it got punted because they refused to do this before, but they needed to contractually.
I mean, this feels like a movie that everyone was forced to make, not that they wanted to make.
Well, that's the thing too.
David
Is
Harbour's just here having the time of his life.
they've come out and were like, "Oh, we've always wanted to make this movie." Bullshit! Then you would have fucking made it.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like you would have made it. I mean, there's a time period where Marvel was just doing whatever the hell that they wanted.
You had Guardians of the Galaxy. You couldn't make a Black Widow movie.
Right. And like what's funny is like it's making a lot of money right now. I wonder how much more it would have made if they released it at like the peak of the core Avengers, right? When everybody was very interested in all of them. And now here's a Black Widow movie. Like I wonder if it would have made even more.
Had they released it like sometime right around Winter Soldier area, it would have done probably gangbusters.
Yes. I would say right after Winter Soldier because she was really good in that movie.
I would say right after Age of Ultron.
Yeah, right around that time.
Like that. Yeah.
But that said, its current box office take is reported at $191.6 million on a $200 million budget. That's probably it. Honestly, on sheer box office alone, it might not make a profit.
I don't know about that. It's only been one weekend. I think.
But those marketing costs are probably stupidly high because of the pandemic.
Right, but I think it'll be even or above. I think it'll probably dip into profit. Plus, can't talk about it without talking about the $30 Disney Plus thing, which they made. Which actually, if you break it down to numbers, seems pretty believable. Yeah, it's not high. Like you see 60 million over the first weekend. That seems absurd, but that's only crunching the numbers. There's only 2 million people. That's totally.
You just got
2 million people, and there's how many people subscribe to Disney Plus?
Right. That's definitely I could buy.
You just got to go and invite like 5 friends over and charge them $5.
Smart. No, that's a smart move. I mean, you could do a party with it. It's what Disney's banking on. Like I said, it makes no sense for me and my wife to do that, but it makes perfect sense for someone who has kids to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I also think looking at like how stuff performed, like Godzilla vs. Kong, like I think the box office numbers will get pretty high because this is in front of that. It doesn't have. I'm gonna dunk on Space Jam in our preview here. I don't think it has any threats for a while, so it'll keep making money.
Did we say on the podcast? I know I once said that I thought Space Jam was going to blow Black Widow out of the water, but I totally don't believe that anymore.
No.
Oh, no. The situation has changed drastically as they've shown more of that movie.
Yeah.
That comment was made pre-wrapping Porky Pig.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. Yeah, that's like a life-changing event. Much like we have pre- and post-Rona, we have pre- and post-Porky Pig rap.
That completely killed whoever's idea was.
It's like shaved 30 mil off the opening.
Whoever's idea was to release that clip before the movie came out needs to be fired. Like, if not executed.
Honestly, whoever's idea was to release any of the clips other than the trailers should be fired. Because
the trailers are bad enough as is, but it's only made it significantly worse.
Yes.
But let's not talk too much about Space Jam. Like we said, that's next week's episode. That's your tease.
We're already pre-shitting on that movie, and we're not even at that episode. That's how bad it's gonna be.
I'm excited.
I already hate you for thinking about the fact that I have to watch it.
I'm excited. I'm not, because I have to watch my favorite characters ever get brutally murdered on screen. But
I think that, I don't know what the competition for Black Widow, I don't think it'll top it. And then Black Widow will keep being number one probably for a while. Maybe, I mean, that's kind of a dark horse, but just because the numbers will be low by the time this comes out. But when does Pig come out?
Pig's already out.
It is?
Yeah.
Is it like limited?
Yeah, limited.
Okay, yeah, I don't know when like the wide is for that. But that's one of those that could make like 20 mil. And then by then Black Widow is weak enough whenever the wide is for that, but like that kind of movie. But until then, I think it'll be number one.
Since we're doing this ahead of time, I want to go back to Space Jam 2 quick. And I want to set for posterity. I want to set in record. I'm setting the over/under for Space Jam 2 at $30 million.
Under. Well,
I want to say under, but
I honestly want to say push at this point. I think it'll like hit right around there. Maybe
it's hard because I feel like part of me feels like our generation will go out and see it in droves, but then
HBO Max will, I think, affect its numbers heavily.
Yeah,
I think this is one that's actually going to hurt it because it's a movie getting poor reviews that doesn't look good. That instead people can just watch at their house for free. I don't think it's one like Godzilla vs. Kong. It was like, oh, it's on Max, but everybody wants to see that on a big screen, and it's supposed to be good. This, I don't think anybody really wants to pay to see that in the theater. Like, let's be real. That looks like a streaming movie.
I probably will.
Yeah, we know you will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks. I don't see anything that would really push against Black Widow.
Yeah, I really think that'll be Widow. Sure, I don't think Space Jam will top it, and then I think it'll keep going.
Black Widow benefited from the pandemic better than we thought it would. I thought that the pandemic was going to kill this movie. Instead, it actually put it in a prime position to dominate for a long time.
Yeah. I'll actually get a little more bold here because I forgot this was coming out, as did everyone, and wonders why it exists. I don't think the Snake Eyes movie is going to top it either. I think that movie looks. I question why that movie exists. Yeah. I really do. No one cares. Remember, I mean, when's the last one of these movies that came out and they weren't even good then? Like, how money did they spend on this movie?
Like, I think the last one was like, what, 2015?
They haven't even said, I can't even find a budget.
And then
it's probably...
It was before that. Was that Retaliation?
Yeah.
Snake Eyes budget.
Yeah, Retaliation came out in 2013.
Ooh, wow. It's even older than I remember.
What a disaster of a choice already. Like, woof.
Well, and Jungle Cruise isn't going to do anything.
Yeah, Jungle Cruise.
The Rock, though.
Jungle Cruise will make more money because of The Rock, but it probably won't make as much as Disney hopes it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like that one, I think will open at number 1.
Yeah, well, that comes out July 30th, right?
Yeah. So 2 weeks from...
that will take number 1. Because by that point, Black Widow will be weak enough from just being out for like a month that it'll be fine.
Suicide Squad will take over otherwise. That's August 6th.
Yeah, Suicide Squad is going to dominate, even with being on Max. That movie is going to destroy. Mm-hmm. Now that we're talking about future movies of this year, let's talk about a very scary fact. There's still 3 MCU movies coming out just this calendar year.
And we're already halfway through the year.
They're releasing 4 movies in half a year. Less than half a year.
Plus all the Disney Plus shows. Jeez.
There's 3 live-action Disney Plus shows, 4 live-action movies, and 1 animated canon MCU series for a total of 8 official MCU productions in 1 calendar year.
I think they're shooting their load a little too much right now.
They are going
Apparently
ham.
they can't. Apparently they can just...
and they took like a year off.
Yeah. Although
it helped them, like, because people were getting Marvel fatigue. They took a year off, and all of a sudden people were like back, like they wanted more. And it's kind of pissing me off because I was kind of hoping for Marvel fatigue.
They can't keep getting away with this.
Well, because I was hoping the Marvel fatigue would at least kind of like calm them down a little bit and kind of slow them down, so that way we were at like a acceptable, kind of like quote Mass Effect. What MCU needs is a genophage. It needs a sterility plague.
We need to curb their numbers.
to curb the reproduction rate.
Rona didn't do it, so...
Because like 8 productions in a year is absolutely insane. 4 movies is wild.
That's bad enough as is, and then you've got just as many TV shows.
And it's asking a lot of your audience too. I mean that's the big thing.
Apparently they literally can't get out. This is all they want to watch.
Yeah, it's insane to me. I was thinking that we reach a point after Endgame people would be done, but no, they want more, and good for them, right? I'm glad they're happy, but at the same time, like. Holy shit, people.
Well, you know what's funny is I forgot that Spider-Man was coming out this year. We're 5 months away and we haven't got a trailer yet to it.
Because that movie's being rushed hard.
Yeah.
Which one?
Spider-Man.
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Wait, what? That comes out this year?
Yeah, December.
December 17th. Shang-Chi.
That might get pushed.
I don't know.
Shang-Chi comes out September 3rd. Eternals comes out November 5th. And Spider-Man comes out December 17th. Shang-Chi might. I don't think Shang-Chi will bomb, but I don't think it will do as well as they hope.
That and
I could see
Eternals
Spider-Man
will
getting
be
pushed
very
only-
interesting.
Only because there's a lot of competition this year around that time. Like, isn't that when Dune's coming out too? Like, I don't know if they.
I think Dune did get pushed back to December. But honestly, Marvel might think they can take Dune, and they might be able to.
Apparently, Dune says in October still.
I'm pretty sure it got moved to December though.
But you're probably right. It's moved so much that I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't know if it'll move or not, considering if they want to stay on their schedule. And I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. I guess
Yeah, 'cause
Marvel almost never moves for stuff except if they had Black Widow against
Well,
Bond.
because if they
Bond
push
was not
back,
moving.
they push back Spider-Man, they have to push back Doctor Strange because that comes out in March 2022.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
And that would force. I mean, that forces them to
Disgusting.
push back all their
Disgusting.
movies. And
Well, I mean, they
have,
can move
like
it
a
to like
schedule going.
January, but
I was
then
gonna
no
s-
one wants to January.
yeah, I was gonna say they could move it to January, but I don't know if they would want to do that, considering January is typically dumping ground.
No, they want the Christmas season.
Yeah, that's true. It's just disgusting. that's too much. Even if I even if I liked this series which at this point I don't, that's too much. That's what happened. I mean, it was the combo of like the content was bad, but like that happened with Star Wars. Like we're all obsessed with Star Wars. There was too much. Even when it wasn't horrifyingly bad, it was too much. Or like the Mando stuff. Like we like Mandalorian. The shows are too much. It's too much.
Yeah,
But for the MCU fans, nothing is too much.
This is just for context. So we're in phase 4 now. 2022 has 4 movies. Also, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and the Marvels.
I honestly think there's no way the Black Panther one can come out next year.
They even
It says
started
come out
shooting
in
it
less than a
yet?
year.
I don't think because like have they even? I don't even know if they have plans, but I don't even know if they've started shooting.
I don't know.
I don't know if they have.
I don't know if they
2023,
just did, but yeah.
2023, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania,
Why?
and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And then Fantastic Four is TBA, but realistically, Fantastic Four is probably coming out in 2023.
Fan Four Stick.
And then we also have Blade coming out at some point. A Deadpool film is in development. Captain America sequel is in development. They're trying to do some sort of mutant movie at some point. Even though there has been talks about the mutants appearing in other films. Like there's been tons of rumors that Rogue is going to be the villain of the Marvels.
What is the Marvels?
It's Captain Marvel 2.
Oh,
Well, then
But they're molding they're merging Captain Marvel with the Miss Marvel show that's coming from Disney Plus.
Well, I was gonna say, then you have all the Disney Plus shows like Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Secret Invasions,
How
Iron
many
Heart,
of those are coming?
Armor
how many
Wars.
Of those are coming out per?
my head hurts.
It says 2 next, there's 2 more this year. It says Hawkeye and Miss Marvel is late 2021.
Hawkeye's this year?
Yeah.
What? Hold up! Wait! Hold up! What? No!
Let me see. Let's see.
No,
this
that
shit.
can't be right.
Oh my gosh, it is supposed to be this year. Late 2021, yes.
I could
Yep.
see that getting pushed back, if anything.
And Miss Marvel too? What the hell?
Stop. Please stop.
And then there's 4 shows. Well, three, and then a holiday special for 2022.
Honestly, the most terrifying thing besides the fact that the movies are just getting shoved down their throats, like Disney discovering that TV works is like the most horrifying thing, because now they're like, we can make as many shows as we make movies, and just
And-
like
You like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward?
And what's with these episode orders? 6 episodes
For which one, Hawkeye or?
for like most of them.
Hawkeye's 8, Miss Marvel's 6.
I have Hawkeye at this is a TBA. She-Hulk is 10 for some reason.
There's no consistency.
Oh my god, and Loki's gonna get another season.
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I think they plan to have 3.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't even watched it, but the only thing I know is freaking
we
Owen
have to
Wilson's
revise
in
our
it.
numbers. There's not 8 MCU productions coming out this year. There's 10.
Remember when we were like talking about how they were making too much Star Wars stuff and that there are like 9 or 10 Star Wars things in the pipeline? The MCU has that in 1 year. 1 year.
Well, it's also
1 year.
It's also funny is that they're not the only Marvel movies coming out. You also have Venom coming out this year. You have the vampire one coming out early next year.
That's fucking right. Oh my god.
Morbius. That's right. Yeah, there's.
Aren't those in the MCU now too, or are those connected to it?
No, because those are Sony.
Yeah, but I bet try to.
No, Michael Keaton's in the Morbius trailer.
Oh, that's
He
right.
is.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my good lord.
Oh my god.
Just unbelievable, man. See, I can't even keep track. Like, literally, like, we followed the industry and we still can't keep track of how much of this shit there is. Like, I can't follow all of this.
I will say 6 episode I think is smart because it allows them to get bigger name actors. It allows them to get Owen Wilson for Loki, Ethan Hawke for Moon Knight. Oscar
Line
Isaac.
the next one up nice and quick.
Why is Oscar Isaac in Moon Knight? That's the part that shocks me. Like, he's actually big.
Money.
Either that or he's a fan of the character.
Disney owns some part of his soul, but isn't doing anything with his Star Wars character, so he's now shuffled into the MCU.
That's true.
I'm going
Because they're not
to
going
a
to make a
different
Star Wars
part.
movie for like 5 more years.
I'm going to a different part of the plant to work where I know they will do things.
I want to go back to Black Widow for a second and just talk about, because I just remember, because I had the question of who actually directed Black Widow. And the answer is Kate Shortland. and the question I have that is, who is Kate Shortland? And she's done nothing. It basically gave an unknown Black Widow.
I mean, they've kind of done that before with, like, James Gunn.
James Gunn was not unknown, though.
How did she land this?
Yeah,
Because it doesn't have anything in the section like, she had some that got like a lot of festival recognition, some like side movies, but like, and then again for I forget the name, the one that Chloe Zhao was doing, right?
Eternals.
Now, obviously she's a huge name. She just won Oscars. But when she got that, people didn't know. And now she's bigger than the director who did Black Widow, obviously. She was bigger than her when she got the job. But it's also kind of surprising that she got it then. So, I mean, knew somebody, had a good pitch, that kind of thing. I mean, like, this is what we don't see. But, like, there are actually a huge number of directors who will pitch to direct these Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they'll already have the script and they'll be like, we're putting out these people, and like certain managers or certain management companies will push like, or agencies or whatever will push like this selection of people, and they just get like tons of directors pitching, this is what I would do with it. And so that's how sometimes you get someone who's lesser known, whereas other times they already have it lined up, like, oh, we're giving this movie to this person. Yeah,
these are career makers. And I think it depends on what, like Guardians of the Galaxy, they wanted someone to have a complete vision, which is why James Gunn was brought in to do both. But a lot of people don't know that, like, Joss Whedon had to fight tooth and nail to be allowed to rewrite the Avengers script.
Yeah, because a lot of these are done. Like, when you're signing up to direct these, they're like done. It's like, you are directing our movie.
Yeah, because Disney wanted him to do the script that was written, and Joss Whedon said that was a terrible script. But let's be real here, Joss Whedon said that, and he probably would have said that about any script that he didn't write. So I don't think we know, because we don't know what that script was. I don't think they've ever actually released or leaked the not Joss Whedon Avengers script. But he had to fight, like Joss Whedon, of all people, who was known for writing, not directing, had to fight to be allowed to write a movie. Mm-hmm. And I think he had to follow like some rules, like I think the rules he had to follow was that Loki had to be the main villain, and that there had to be a fight between all the major ones at one point.
Yeah, because didn't he want the Wasp in it or whatever?
Yeah. His original draft called for the Wasp until he realized that that's just too many characters to introduce.
Yeah, well, and then you get other ones like James Gunn writing and directing Guardians, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and these are the kind of things that like unless they say it and are allowed to say it, outside of like random industry chatter, you really don't know that much of what goes on behind those doors because Disney's very secretive and very close circle. But like it's just like giant pitch sessions to win these movies.
Let's see here.
But there are some people that's what they want to do.
James Gunn co-wrote the script.
That being said, if you want to offer me money.
Yeah, he co-wrote the first one, and I think
with Nicole Perlman.
He wrote the second one.
So who is Nicole Perlman? Oh, Nicole Perlman wrote the first draft. This is Nicole Perlman, who was enrolled in Marvel's screenwriting program in 2009, was offered several of their known properties to have a base the screenplay on.
Interesting.
Okay.
That's kind of an interesting story.
Okay, so she wrote the first draft because she chose because they had a screenwriting program or something. That's kind of interesting. Kind of freaky. Yeah, well, basically, what it basically locks people in like their own little exclusive class. That actually kind of makes some sense. So she spent 2 years writing a draft, and then did another draft in 2011, and then Gunn was brought in 2012, and then rewrote the script entirely. So he came in and completely erased her work from the film.
Well, not all of it, because she has a co-writer credit, so they used enough of her story and script that she still has credit.
Well, he
probably followed the main outline.
He said. Gunn has a quote. Gunn later explained that Perlman's draft was very different from the script he used during filming, including a different story, character arcs, and no Walkman. He stated in Nicole's script everything is pretty different. It's not about the same stuff, but that's how the WGA works. Like the first writer is an awful lot.
Yeah, but right, that's his quote. But but WGA rules, she had to have enough to do with that draft that she has her name on it.
Yeah, but Gunn's claiming that she had nothing to do with it. So I guess we don't really know what the truth is. If the own director is saying I didn't shoot her movie,
right? But like it's not really hers. But like there has to be, I forget what the percentage is, but like there's a certain percentage that has to be literally hers. Otherwise, she would only get story credit or nothing. And she got a co-writer credit. So they used enough of her script.
My guess is it wasn't necessarily her script. It was the Marvel shit that Marvel, kind of like with Joss Whedon, you have to put these points in. It's probably those points.
Probably.
Because James Gunn wrote Guardians of the Galaxy,
he could have literally started from scratch, but if he takes enough that was in hers, then she's going to get a writer credit, and it has to be a decent sized portion. Like,
let's look this up.
Actual words that she used. I forget. It's like, I don't know if it's 30%, 20%. I can't remember what it is, but there is literally an exact percentage, and they don't mess around.
Okay, we got it here. I got it right here. Credit determination procedure.
Yeah, they have a whole thing on it.
Oh, what the? Okay, let me get past all of this gobbledygook. All this legalese is about arbitration and stuff. I just want to know the rules. What are the rules? Okay. Well, there's a definition of the term writer. That's cool. Okay. Collaboration. Just get to the rules. We have received a notice among writers.
Well, I have it.
Give me a sec. I'm working on it.
All right.
I'm on the official.
I can tell you too.
Listen, I've committed to this. Okay?
I know. I'll let you get this W. This is
a challenge at this point. Shit. Oh, here we go. Percentage. So first writer based on the final shooting script. So first writer, non-production executive. It looks like it's 33% original or 33% non-original. What's the difference between original and non-original?
Okay, so it's like if it was the original, meaning the original draft. So if you wrote the first draft of the script, to get writing credit, you contribute 33% or more of the screenplay. If you are not the first writer, you need to contribute at least 50%.
But I'm seeing two types. I'm seeing two types of scripts. I'm at their table.
Are you talking like adapted
original and non-original? And there's differences between the two.
Where is this table? I just need to see the table.
It's an appendix A of the rules.
We're in like fucking.
We're in legal territory here.
We are like in legalese right now. We're like full.
Go to
For no other reason other than we're kind of feuding. So now we're going fine. Let's fuck it. Let's go with the rules.
What are the rules?
Yeah, I think that could be based on the percentages are. Yeah, I think it's it doesn't actually say, but I would guess that if it's adapted from something or literally an original idea. So somebody subsequently coming on, if it's your original idea, would have to contribute more than they would if you were adapting on something. Yeah. Because that's also going to have the credit of the original part, like Guardians. So James Gunn, obviously wrote more than 33%, but to get a writing credit, he would have only had to write 33% as well to get another writing credit, and that's how you get 6 people.
That's a Space Jam 2 has 6 credited writers.
Right. And then story.
How can 6 people write? Each read a third of a movie.
If they write 33% together, for example, they might both agree to share it. This is why when I keep saying I have no idea who actually wrote this up when we're talking about these big budget ones and we want to blame one writer, this is why I'm I have no idea who this was. Because and then there are all the uncredited. Think about the people who do less than that and don't have any credit on it.
Yeah, people who do script doctoring, Carrie Fisher used to do.
Yeah,
or Frank Darabont.
Or then writers' rooms, right? And Darabont too, or rooms of people. But in this case, the final script, at least 33% of what she physically wrote was in that script, and that's just statistical.
Someone needs to bring that up to James Gunn, because I'm curious what he would say to that, because he's disputing that.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He'd probably say, "Fuck you, I wrote it." But it's this is a literal statistical fact. I'm sorry, James Gunn, but the WGA doesn't fuck around.
Well, like you said, David,
and
it's
not
probably all
just a
this.
story, because then if they took her narrative elements, she would have gotten a story by credit instead. But they took enough of literally what she physically wrote that she gets credit.
Well, like you said, David, it's probably all the MCU, this needs to be in here.
All the stuff that she was mandated to put in.
But see, that would either be story by or she'd get nothing.
No, but that's what I mean. Is he just kept that shit in there because he had to, and then
I'm saying this would be including lines of dialogue. This is literally.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is the scenes that were mandated to be in there were kept in there unaltered. That's what I'm saying. Is there certain scenes that had to be in there that there's no reason to change them because they have to be in there. So I wanted to clarify that I wasn't trying to say that it was just general story stuff. There was actual scenes that were forced to be in there.
Well, apparently James Gunn doesn't think so.
James Gunn's probably. Let's be real. James Gunn and Joss Whedon both are probably bullshit.
Yeah, and honestly, there are people who get that way. I'm not trying to necessarily take shots at them, but I guess I'm going to. People do kind of become assholes about this stuff, and it's those people. It's look, listen, this did happen. We can see by how the credits went that you didn't literally write every word, and that's fine. You did rewrite almost the whole script, but there is stuff you didn't, and that's why there's someone else on there and not just you. Mm-hmm. But people get very possessive. It's this is my script. This is, all of mine.
You can blame WGA as much as you want to.
Yeah, but and then I guarantee you there will be other instances if you bring it up to James Gunn where he got a writer credit on something that was rewritten after him, and he'll call it his script too.
I'm sure.
Yeah, you're probably true because he wrote. Well, because wasn't his? Did he do the Scooby-Doo draft rewrite?
That's a good question.
Because that's the one where if you're gonna dispute him, Scooby-Doo is probably the place.
He has sole screenplay credit. Someone else has a story credit.
Okay, so he must have did that revision because I read the first draft and that was not what they filmed.
Yeah, or it could have passed back and forth. Maybe the second guy did one, but then only got story by because they only kept his story elements as James Gunn rewrote it again.
Or you do enough people with passes that aren't used that you can do it without credit.
Yeah, this is why big budget movies are a giant jumble, and some of them do feel like 8 people wrote it because they might have.
What the hell? He's writing the Coyote v. Acme movie? What the hell?
Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's been in production for a long time. It's a Wile E. Coyote versus Acme film, with Chris McKay directing. But he got replaced by Dave Green with, oh my Jesus Christ, Five writers.
I also I wonder if the animation rules are different too, because there are usually more
Animation rules. Sadly, this isn't an animated movie. It's a live action one that somehow has 5 writers. But animation is like all writers' room.
Yeah.
There's rarely ever like any actual like screenplay because if it's animation, it should really be storyboards.
Yeah.
But sometimes like Disney films will have they all get into a room and storyboard and kind of brainstorm and that kind of stuff. But they'll do actual like dialogue. So that's how it gets to be, credited writers. But there's more than just even animation. There's more than those people credited that actually wrote a movie. It's kind of insane. And it's weird too, is like Marvel movies, you would think, because most blockbusters have like a shit ton of writers, but they typically only have a couple. At least credited.
I think the most is got 3?
And I think a lot of times, like, there are different ways. Like, yeah, they had the pipeline thing and they decided to go with Guardians because she wrote that one and they liked it. There are other ones where it'll be like the director thing, where people either pitch to write it or they like find people and ask. I'm not gonna say who, but I do know they went around asking people if they wanted to write Boba Fett. So like Disney went around asking writers like, wait,
you're not gonna say? Oh, do you know a person that was asked?
I know a person who knows a person who was asked.
Okay.
Like they literally showed up at this person's door.
Tell us when the mics are off.
Right. Yeah, I can tell you when the mics are off. But while the mics are on, I'll say, in a very LA way, I know someone who knows someone who, like, yeah, they literally showed up at their door, basically, and were like, do you want to write the Boba Fett movie? And it was like, they thought about it, but they were like, I don't really have a story. Because that's how vague it was. It was like, do you want to write a Boba Fett movie with these elements? What's your story? And they're like, I don't really... Yeah, there are two types of people. There would be, I don't really have one, or if they do have a story they go for, or the people who say yes. And then it's like, oh shit, I have to come up with a Boba Fett movie now.
Connect the dots.
Like, oh, I want to do Star Wars. Now I have to figure this out. But yeah, so sometimes they'll go around asking specific people they want, and then they'll get those together and see who has the best idea.
When you say Boba Fett movie, are you referring to the Josh Trank one that didn't happen?
Yes. This is why it didn't happen.
I thought it didn't happen because Josh Trank fucked around too much on the Fantastic Four set.
Oh, I'm sure that was nail in the coffin. They also legitimately couldn't get someone to write it, or couldn't get a version that they like. You know what I mean? So I'm sure other people said yes. They pitched their version. I don't know if there were ever any drafts written because you want to pitch what your version would be first. And I don't know if they ever got one they liked. And then Fantastic happened, and it's like they decided to eventually do Mandalorian and stuff instead of doing a Boba Fett movie.
Then they're like, see you, Josh.
Well, Josh Trank just got dumped by Hollywood. Let's see here.
Because they saw Fantastic.
Iron Man has 4 credited writers, but 2 writing teams.
Interesting.
Incredible Hulk has 1. Iron Man 2 has 1. Justin Theroux. I forgot he wrote that.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
Because Justin Theroux co-wrote Tropic Thunder, and Jon Favreau loved Tropic Thunder, so he said, "Hey, come do Iron Man 2." But you have
kind of explain why it's all jokes and no plot.
But you have 4 hours to write the movie. Basically, is what happened.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Iron Man 2 had a very rushed pre-production cycle.
Honestly, a lot makes sense now.
Iron Man 2 was made over the course of because you gotta think, Iron Man 1 came out in May of 2008. Iron Man 2 came out in May of 2010. And they didn't start production on Iron Man 2 until after Iron Man 1 was released. So they had under 2 years to make that movie. But from development to completion. It's why it's shit. It's why it's not any good. And it's why he brought in Justin Theroux to write. It's why he brought in Jenny Tartakovsky, the Samurai Jack and Primal creator, to do the storyboards. He went all out because they needed to go fast. They were under the gun.
We need to go fast, boys.
Thor has 3 credited writers. Captain America: First Avenger has 2, which is the main Captain America writing team, Marcus and McFeely. Avengers has one, which is Joss Whedon, but you know damn well more than one person wrote that movie.
Oh, I'm sure there were a bunch.
Iron Man 3 had 2. Thor Dark World had 3. Captain Winter Soldier had 2, but again, writing team. Guardians of the Galaxy had 2. Age of Ultron had 1. Ant-Man had 4, but Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish's script wasn't really used.
I somewhat
It must have
doubt
been
that.
used enough. But
They took the elements of it, but it got like completely retooled.
It really wasn't the same script he wrote. Phase 3, Civil War had 2. Doctor Strange had 3. Guardians Volume 2 had 1. I'm going to point something out here. The only ones that have single writers are Whedon and James Gunn.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones that have single credited writers. Even Taika isn't getting sole credit for. Actually, the Marvels and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania also have single writers, but those aren't out yet, so there could be more people coming.
Yeah.
Right. They'll add those credits late sometimes.
I was gonna say I don't even think those are shooting yet. So
I think Ant-Man is because that's like fully cast and ready to go. Oh, what the fuck? Why is Chloe Zhao credited twice on the Eternals? It says Chloe Zhao and Patrick Burleigh.
is she the DP or the editor?
No, she's not the DP. Her DP died, I think. Yeah, Ben Davis. No, he's still alive. I don't know one of her DPs passed away like right after the movie came out. It might have been Nomadland. So the Eternals, which that trailer didn't look bad, but didn't necessarily give me hype either. I will say it does look slightly visually different from the other Marvel films. I mean, because that's what Black Widow had, that Marvel visual style of kind of TV show-ish.
Yeah, that was the funny thing. Like, it definitely looked like that, but like I had just come off of seeing F9, so I was like, well, this visually looks better than F9. Which is sad.
We're talking for a long time, so I'm gonna just say we go into final thoughts on Black Widow. Back to the main topic of the episode. We talked all about Marvel films, but frankly, there's more we haven't even discussed with those things. So there's so many, and it's such a big thing. But anyway, I guess for me, it's a decent movie. It's not a bad movie. It kind of shows where I think Marvel's at, which is just mediocrity. Have I given my Applebee's comparison on here yet?
I don't know,
so.
but it's worth giving again anyway.
Okay, so my comparison to the MCU is that the MCU movies are the Applebee's of the film world. You don't go to Applebee's because it's good. You go to Applebee's because you know what to expect every time. It's mediocrity, but it's consistent mediocrity. So you're never going to be wowed by Applebee's. Maybe sometimes, the mozzie sticks are better than the times.
Sometimes it just hits a little different.
Yeah, or the wings are a little bit crispier. Maybe sometimes the salsa that came with the margarita isn't hitting the spot. But it never deviates much too far either way, and that's where Marvel basically is at this point. Is that and Black Widow fits right in that. Like I said, it's not a bad movie, but it is a frustrating one in that there are some really good elements that just are not explored nearly as well as they should have been. And the film is not nearly as dark and brooding and epic as it could have been because it had to fit in all of the MCU nonsense that basically makes an MCU movie and not a movie. And with Scorsese was right. I'll pass the torch to whoever's
All hail. Yeah, honestly, of all the MCU movies I've seen, this was one of them. I mean, you pretty much hit exactly where I'm at with it. Like, there are moments where it's like entertaining or threatens to be pretty good, and then it kind of goes back.
And then it remembers it's a Marvel movie.
Exactly, it falls into the same pitfalls that we're kind of used to. Is very formulaic by the books. It's not bad. It's competently made. It's it has interesting moments, but ultimately it's a fairly passable experience. I mean, if you want to go to a theater and see an MCU movie, then I mean that's what this is. If you're looking for something more interesting or like this was actually a very good movie, I don't think you're gonna get that. It's just all right.
I mean, it's all right. I'd say it's in the middle. It's better than average, possibly. It's nice to see Florence Pugh in the MCU, see what she does in Hawkeye, which I don't.
No, it's not. Florence, stay away. Why'd you do this to yourself? You had
Go
a
back
career.
to doing awards movies.
True. I think she's just doing it for fun. But that raises an interesting point.
Before she was really big in the indie scene, probably.
So
because she probably was cast in this right after Fighting with My Family, if not before that even came out.
That was
probably.
I guess it would have been a while ago.
Yeah, you gotta. It's hard to remember that this was supposed to come out last year, so everything is even like farther back than you think. But it's average.
I mean, that's really all I can say, right?
Yeah.
It's a movie.
It has
Very-
moments,
very
and then it pulls its Marvel thing, and it's like, we're gonna be safe and boring and predictable, and yeah.
We want your kids to buy our shit.
We want you to blow up kids and keep them dead.
We want you to go to Disney World and buy a Black Widow doll for your daughter. Okay, Justin, final score of the 5.
3.
Alex, final score of the 5.
3.
I'm also at 3. So that's
Yeah.
3 3s out of 5. Our average is 3 out of 5.
And average selection from all of us for a very average movie.
Yep. Go to Applebee's, get some mozzarella.
Go to Applebee's after you watch this movie and talk about how okay it was with some okay chips.
And some okay drinks.
And maybe like a not bad margarita.
And get some okay takeout and buy it
So that you can have some microwave leftovers.
as you want.
To take the whole thing back as leftovers and microwave it at kind of a lukewarm temperature. And that's about the best experience possible for this movie.
Get those leftovers for those hangover nights.
But that's our thoughts on Black Widow. We're out of time. We've been talking for a long time. But thank you so much for listening. If you disagree with us on our thoughts of Black Widow, or you agree with us,
Which I'm sure there are plenty of people.
please let us know in the comments. Watch us on YouTube. Otherwise, reach out to us on social media. We're on Facebook. Let us know your thoughts there under the episode link. Next week is Space Jam: New Legacy. Let's go. We're as much as we're not excited to see the movie, we are excited to, I think, talk about it because it's gonna be big.
I'm ready for Overdall's rant next week.
You should be ready for my rant after I watch them butcher my childhood heroes on the big screen.
Lots of LeBron jokes. I've got them ready.
But yeah, that's next week's episode. It's going to be a great time. Hope to see you then. For Alex Oval, just Ansel, I'm David Yanish. This has been Idiot Plot, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Idiot Plot. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get a notification every time we drop a new episode. Also, follow us on Facebook and Letterbox. The links are in the description.